Welcome everyone to another AHA tutorial where this go around we're talking about how to customize record layouts in AHA roadmaps. And I guess to do that I should back up a bit and talk about what an AHA roadmaps record is. So you use AHA roadmaps to define your strategy with goals and initiatives, to connect it to critical work like releases, epics, features, and requirements. You solicit feedback from all sorts of people through ideas, and you further define your business model with competitors and personas, and if you're a marketing user, through creative briefs as well. Everything I just talked about is a record in AHA roadmaps, and every record has a layout, which is the arrangement of fields and tabs on it, what's required information and what's optional, that sort of things. When you first get going with AHA roadmaps, every record has a default layout that we created for you. They work great, but as you grow into your AHA roadmaps implementation, you probably get the itch to start customizing. Maybe you want to rearrange fields a little bit to slightly emphasize information that's really important to your company culture or to your business model. You might want to add custom fields that help you track information that's critical to your roadmap so that you can report on it and analyze it and present it and talk about it. If you have that itch, then great, you're in the right tutorial. We're going to customize some record layouts today. We're actually going to customize 3 record layouts with 3 record types. You can see them on the screen here. First is initiatives, and initiatives are those high-level strategic themes of work. A lot of times work contributes to them, features and epics and releases. And so we're going to make a couple simple tweaks here so that we can highlight strategic information that's important to your organization and also make it so that everybody can tell at a glance how that contributing work is doing, because a lot of times people want to know, are we on track to meet this initiative in its time frame or not? Next, we're going to jump over to ideas. And ideas, there's actually 5 different ideas layouts in AHA roadmaps, because depending on the type of user you are, whether you're a customer or an AHA roadmaps account user, there's a bunch of different ways to create an idea, to vote on it, and of course to manage it and prioritize it, what to do with this feedback you're collecting. So we're going to talk about that all-important moment when a customer decides to create an idea and what sort of information you should be tracking at that moment, or could be tracking. These are your layouts to customize as you see fit. Finally, we're going to end up with features. And features in most AHA roadmaps accounts are the workhorse record type. This is where things get done incrementally that progress towards your strategic goals. And because of that, features tend towards field bloat, because every time a team reorganizes or your business model shifts, people tend to add more custom fields and then forget to remove them with the next change, which leads to a bloated record layout. So we'll talk about how to optimize those features details, how to streamline the record layout there. Every time we look at a new record layout, we're going to adjust it in the same way, following the same 3 steps. They all start with the same letter. You can see them here. Add, arrange, and apply. Add, arrange, apply. You're going to hear me say that a lot today. In the first step, add, we're going to add fields to a custom layout if the custom layout already exists, or if it doesn't, we're going to add a brand new custom layout. So first step is add. Then we're going to arrange what we've added. So we're going to arrange the fields we've added and the tabs on the record types that we're adjusting. Okay, and that third step is apply. Add, arrange, apply. And that's a little bit more intentional than just saving our changes, because when we're making changes at the account level here, it's worth thinking about how those changes are going to affect the different workspaces when we apply the changes. I'll show you what I mean right here. We're going to spend a lot of time today here at the account settings, specifically the custom layouts settings, as you might expect. If you are an administrator in your AHA roadmaps account with customizations permissions, then you have access to this page. You can follow along at home. But even if you aren't, that's totally fine, because workspace owners are an integral part of this process as well. I'll kind of talk you through how it works. First, custom fields get created by an admin. They get applied to custom layouts right here, also by an admin, what we're doing today. And then custom layouts get applied by individual workspace owners to their specific workspaces. So a workspace owner can decide which record layout should be applied to the records in the workspace. I'll show you this towards the end of the tutorial. But that means that what we're talking about today is an opportunity for collaboration between account administrators and workspace owners in your AHA account. It's December while I'm recording this, and December, end of the year, is always a great time to think about all of these account level settings, how you've structured your AHA account. We're also talking about this in December 2020 because in September 2020, AHA released a brand new custom record layout builder, which really streamlined the process, combined a couple steps together. It's really smooth. I really like it. I'm excited to introduce you to it. And then we also released some pretty significant updates to the way records look in AHA. We introduced the concept of tabs, we moved some fields around, we changed the font, that sort of thing. So I'll introduce you to those as well if you haven't seen them before, or if you just haven't had a walkthrough. If at any time during this tutorial you get inspired by something or confused by something, each of those are equally possible. Definitely submit a ticket to customer success, and we'll talk you through, give you some knowledge base articles, help you out with any specific problems you've got. Okay, let's start with initiatives. You can see I'm already on the initiatives tab here of custom layouts. And there's really two different ways to get back to these custom layout settings. One of them is the way that you're probably used to, which is to jump up here to the gear icon and click on account settings and then navigate to this page, to the custom layout settings. The other way is to navigate to this exact setting from the record itself, where we use different pathways for different types of work and with different goals behind them. And I'll show you both today. In fact, I'll show you the second one I just mentioned when we talk about initiatives. So let's jump up to initiatives now. I'm in Fredwin Cycling, by the way, which is a demo workspace that I've enabled here, and we've kind of gussied up with some data. You can enable the same workspace for yourself in your own account if you'd like to. It's a great little sandbox environment for you to experiment with, or you can, of course, adjust your own initiatives in your main account. I'm going to hover here over strategy and click on initiatives to jump over to the initiatives page. And I'm actually going to show us the chart view here. So if you're new to AHA or you haven't spent a lot of time in initiatives, this list here, these cards are all individual initiatives, which are those big strategic themes of work. And this chart is a little 2x2 matrix that's customizable. You can rename any of this stuff. That helps you plot your initiatives on two different metrics and get some value there. So all these are initiatives as well. I can click on any one of them and something pops out. This is what's called the drawer view. There's really two ways to look at a record after it's been created. This is the drawer view because it slides in and out a lot like a drawer. Isn't that evocative? There's also a details view. I'll show you in just a minute. Same information, just organized differently for different use cases. That drawer view, the slide in and out, is really useful if I want to make a quick adjustment or get some more details, but I'm working on something else at the same time. So in this case, I might be plotting these initiatives on the chart, and I click in to get some more details or check the status, that sort of thing. And then once I'm done making adjustments, I get back to what I was working on. You can see I've got a description up top that's expandable and collapsible. I have an overview tab here with some basic fields. This is using the default record layout for an initiative. And then a few other tabs as well for different ways to interact with this record. Comments, to-dos, related. This is all that contributing work that I mentioned at the top of the tutorial here, the release and the epics and the features that all contribute towards this initiative's progress. And then finally, history and audit log of what was changed at what time. I've been pretty busy in this one. So that's the drawer view. It slides in and out, really useful. The details view looks like this. I can expand this list on the left, and details view is really useful for when you want to focus on one record at a time and not be distracted by anything else. It's for when you want to take a deep dive into, you guessed it, the details. I've got that same expandable, collapsible description here, those same tabs. Over here on the right, I've got an overview tab with all those same fields, and I can start collapsing things to see even more detail. I guess even less distraction is probably a better way to put that. So same information, same record layout, just different ways to present things. Drawer and details view. We're going to adjust both of them at the same time. So this initiative, actually all these initiatives, this record type does not have a custom layout yet. And so I want to adjust it. It's worth taking a pause, taking a break before we adjust any record layouts though. The things I'm going to show you today are relatively simple to do. They're just some buttons to click, and we've got designers who put a lot of thought into making them really intuitive and nicely designed. But because we're making administrative account level changes, it's worth pausing and coming up with a little bit of a strategy. That sounds a lot like AHA, right? If you've ever read our blog, strategy first is a big theme there. So for each one of these record types, I'm going to kind of benchmark us and pick some best practices for adjusting a record layout. First, let's talk about what an initiative is. An initiative is a way to manage large themes of work that contribute to your strategy, okay? And we would use initiatives when we're monitoring the progress of that related work so that we can see how we're delivering against our strategy. The initiative saves us from having to look into each one of these features individually and coming up with an idea of how we're progressing. Initiatives are also really helpful if you're an Enterprise Plus customer of AHA roadmaps for capacity planning, for doing this long-range planning for different teams and how they might accomplish the initiative. And that leads me to think that we've got two goals here as we're adjusting this record layout. First, we want to highlight strategic information that's unique to this organization, this Fred Wind Cycling organization. And then second, we want to make it real simple for people to monitor cross-functional work. So those are two goals going into this: highlight strategic info and monitor cross-functional work. With that in mind, let's get started. I'm going to jump up to the More Options menu here and click on Create a New Custom Layout. You might not remember this. I tend to forget it, but once I click on here and we adjust our record layout, AHA roadmaps will remember where we are. We'll come right back to this place. So that's the benefit of using this More Options pathway to those account settings, is that we can come back to what we were already working on. I'll click in. And here you have the new, as of late 2020, new custom layout builder. I'll orient you to it a little bit more each time we see this. We're going to see this 3 or 4 different times today, but in brief, I've got a place for a name up here. This is a new custom layout, so we'll be adding a new name. This layouts dropdown I want to talk about when we get to features and ideas, so let's skip that for now. And then you remember our 3 steps for how we're going to adjust a custom layout. It's add, arrange, apply, add, arrange, apply. By happenstance, lucky happenstance, this custom layout builder is organized the exact same way. So here's where we add fields, either existing fields or create new custom fields. In the middle, we have an example of what the record type looks like, in this case, an initiative, in both the drawer view here, and I can switch over to the details view right there. And then in the top right, I have where I'm going to apply my changes. So add, arrange, and apply. We just go left to right through this thing. Okay, let's start with the add step and talk about what fields we might want to add to this custom layout. Again, this is just the default that comes with AHA, and we want to highlight strategic information that's unique to my organization. I think to help me have the conversation about prioritizing and comparing one initiative to another, it might be really nice to have some number-based fields as far as revenue. Every time we're considering an initiative, I think the question will probably come up: what's the opportunity here? How much money are we talking about if we implement this? And it's probably also useful to have a sense of what budget we'd be able to allocate towards the initiative, especially if we're talking about capacity planning for teams. If we have a given budget and a given estimate, we can talk about whether that works with the teams who would be contributing to this. Capacity planning for teams, again, is an Enterprise Plus feature. If you're curious about that, just talk to customer success. We'll get you a demo. Okay, so let's talk about here adding those 2 fields. We could create a new one, but it's kind of best practice to start with existing fields. This is certainly true in the AHA account that I work in personally. There's hundreds of existing custom fields and a lot of really intelligent people, so I tend to start here to see if someone's already created the field I'm looking for. And if it's a big list, you can just start typing to search. It looks like I've got 3 fields related to opportunities, which is great. I think I want just a simple numbers field though. So to add it, I'm going to just drag and drop, add the fields, head back, and let's look for budget. Again, I'll look for an existing one. We have a couple budgets, custom worksheets there, another Enterprise Plus functionality there, but I think I want, again, just a simple number. So I'm going to just move my budget over to add it. Okay, and that's as simple as adding it. I've just added 2 new fields. Next, let's move into the arrange step. And the arrange step is where we arrange fields and tabs on a record layout. Best practices for arranging fields together is to put like fields together. So up at the top of record layouts, I like to have those denotative fields like status and progress and assignee all up at the top, the things that we really need to have together. And then it's nice to put custom fields together. It's certainly nice to put fields to do with estimate, budget, prioritization, that sort of thing all in one section together. Depending on the integration you use, this could be a vital field that needs to go to the top, or something not heavily used and goes to the bottom. But this is all the arrangement I want to do now. So I'm training my users, I guess providing an opportunity for my users to look in the same place for the same sort of information. That's the kind of purpose of the arrange step there. And I think these three fields are probably going to be in conversation with each other quite frequently. Okay, that's good for fields. We can also arrange tabs, and related work here is over here on the right. I think it's probably better to be second place. Usually when people open this initiative, they're first going to want to know what's the status, who's in charge, how much progress are we making, and then they're going to want to find out how that contributing work is doing. So moving this here, I think, makes a lot of sense. Let's look at the details view, and you can see those same changes applied. A details view looks a little different because the overview tab's on the right, but I've still got my three prioritization fields together, and I've got related over here on the left. So in the details view, users can actually look at these at the same time, which is going to be really, really useful. Okay, we've added our fields, we've arranged fields and tabs. Now it's time to apply our changes. Normally, this would be the time where we talk about what workspaces this custom layout will affect, but since it's a new custom layout, it's just affecting my workspace, I feel comfortable clicking apply there. But before I do it, I should add a name. We're in the Fredwin cycling workspace, but I'm going to call this Fredwin Technologies, the company name of our kind of demo company initiatives layout. I'm giving this a name that's unique and also applies beyond my individual workspace, because in my kind of pretend scenario here, this is a layout that we might be applying to multiple workspaces. I want to give it a name that reflects that. Okay, I've got a name. I've added my fields, arranged my fields, applied my changes. Here we go. I'm going to click save. And if you forgot, AHA Roadmaps didn't, we're right back where we started, and we can see those changes applied here. The related tab is second in line, and the overview tab now shows opportunity, budget, and estimate all close together. This looks a little bit wonky. We probably shouldn't put $100,000 after a $5,000 opportunity, but if nothing else, this is probably just demo data, but if nothing else, it starts a good conversation to talk about why we're doing this progress dashboard, or how we could change it to make it more valuable to the company. And over here on our details view, I'll click into details. You can see I like this. We can see the related work and the overview tab at the same time. Really good comparison, good conversation to have there. Okay, that's initiatives. If anything in here is exciting or confusing to you, we've got some great knowledge base articles on initiatives and customizing record layouts. You've also got the option to submit a ticket to customer success if you're working with something you think is broken, or you just need a little bit of help. Send a ticket on over. Let's jump into ideas next. And to do that, I'm going to show you an ideas portal. This is actually our ideas portal. This is the AHA company ideas portal for all of our products. Right now, that's AHA Roadmaps and AHA Ideas. So any customer or any team member, anyone who has an idea about how to improve functionality, things that are broken that they'd like to fix, can come here and submit something or vote on something or comment on it. We have a lot of great conversations here. So brief plug, you can head right to big.ideas.aha.io if you've got anything to say, or if you want to kind of research the conversation. The thing I want to talk about is how varied ideas are. Remember, I told you that ideas actually have 5 different record types in AHA Roadmaps, because there's a couple different ways to vote on them, there's a couple different ways to create them, and there's definitely a couple different ways to manage them. The use case I'm most interested in for the purposes of this tutorial is this one, the one that's in an ideas portal, and that moment when a customer clicks this button to add a new idea. And sees this form. This is called the ideas form. So that's the record layout we're going to be adjusting. In my little demo workspace that I've been showing you, I actually don't have an ideas custom record layout yet. So I'm looking at AHA to see what I can steal, or just, places I can get inspiration, fields I might want to borrow. A lot of these are standard fields, but I see that AHA has a couple of custom ones here as well. So that's really interesting. This is a good moment. Remember, every time we go to make an account level change, we should stop and really think intentionally about what we're doing. Let's talk about what ideas are, when we're going to use them, and how that affects our record layout. So ideas are there to help you record and then manage feedback from multiple types of users: end users, beta users, customers, internal users, power users. Everyone's got ideas, and you need a central place to compare them to one another and to manage them and promote the best ones to work you want to take on in initiatives, epics, and features. So that's the purpose of an idea. We use them at the point of creation. When we're creating ideas, we use them to manage them and promote them to the work. So I think this leads us to two different goals in adjusting an idea's record layout. The first one is we want to make it easy for someone to submit feedback, especially someone outside the company who isn't being paid to think about feedback and who oftentimes have incredible ideas or at least incredible opportunities for conversation and empathy. We don't want to put barriers in their way. But at the same time, every time they submit an idea, we want to capture that information that's critical to helping us compare it and prioritize it against the other ideas in our account. So there's a little bit of a balance there. If I make it too easy to submit an idea, I won't have something I can compare with. If I make it too hard, I'll get the critical information, but I'll miss out on a lot of ideas because they won't want to go through the trouble for the form. I might be a little biased, but I think the AHA Ideas form here is pretty nice. We require a title, a name for it, and we require to know who you are, and then the rest of these fields are pretty optional. One of the custom ones that I think we're going to borrow today is this needed by field. It's a drop down with different time periods to show the customer's sense of priorities, spanning from yesterday, kind of a let's go already, I really need this now, it's critical blocker level, through week, month, quarter, to not sure, I just thought it was cool, something that's kind of a trivial urgency but still an interesting thing to consider adding to the roadmap. I think we can borrow this in our own account today. Let's jump in there, and I'm going to show you the other pathway to get to the custom layout settings, which is to jump up to the gear icon here, click on account, and then click down to custom layouts. As you can see here, I've got a tab for each different type of record, or each different type of record layout, I should say. I click the more tab and I can see here's all those ideas layouts. We want ideas form. We want that creation form today. And using this pathway to get to the settings is more useful if my main goal is to adjust record layout settings, especially if I'm adjusting multiple record layouts at once. I can just go tab by tab and audit how things are going. You can see we've already got an ideas record layout here, but it looks like it's more for a marketing use case. These are definitely marketing workspaces. In my little fiction here for the tutorial, I'm a product manager with a product workspace. I think we want to create one just for the Fredwin Cycling product workspace. Okay, so let's click this button to add a custom layout. Remember, we're on the add step there. So we just added a custom layout. We'll also add some fields to this layout. Same sort of thing. Wily viewers among you will notice that there's not that drop down that shows me difference between the couple different record types. That's because this is an ideas form. It's something that's just going to be created and then it passes into another record layout for people inside my account to add fields to and help prioritize and compare the ideas to each other. But same basic flow. I've got the add step here. I've got the basic idea form there in the middle to arrange, and then we apply our changes over there on the right. Let's start with adding custom fields. Best practices, I would check in here for an existing field, but I want to show you what it looks like to add a new custom field. Here's all the different types of custom fields we can add. If you're ever unsure what any of them is, you can mouse hover over it to get an example of what it looks like. And a little tooltip on what it actually is. Predefined choice list, I think, is going to be the best one here because I want customers who submit ideas to select one urgency level and only one. So to create a custom idea, I'm going to click it and drag it straight over to the layout builder there. That will not only create it, but open up the custom field creation modal where I give it a name. Again, let's give these unique names because we will certainly, over time, have hundreds of different custom fields in your AHA Roadmaps account, so it's nice to make these unique. Choice display. Oh, we can show colors. Always choose colors. I love that. And then just so you don't have to listen to me type out 6 different choices, I'm going to make it a little simpler. We'll add one here for yesterday. An idea is being very urgent. I'll add a choice for next month. So if it's kind of a major idea but not that urgent. And then finally, maybe a not sure here for those trivial ideas. I don't think we need to look at the advanced options. That looks pretty good. Let's click create and boom, that easy. The custom field is created. That's all I need to add here. I want to keep this record layout simple. Remember our kind of balancing act we've got with ideas to make it easy to submit, but to capture critical information. Okay, let's look at the arrange step. One thing we haven't talked about yet is this. On the create record layout, when a record's first being created, you can require different fields, which means you can't create, in this case, an idea until it's got a workspace it's attached to, it's got a name, and they've got that sense of urgency to it. Best practices here with arrangement is to group the required fields together. I might want to require description as well. I don't want any single name ideas for my workspace. That way everyone sees what's required right up top, and they can add the optional information down below it if they want to. And that's all I'm going to do for arrangement. Ideas forms don't have tabs on them. So now it's time to apply. So we did add, we did arrange, now it's time to apply. So let's give this thing a name. And particularly with ideas, there's a lot of different ideas layout types out there. So let's give this a really clear name of what this actually is. And in this case, it's a layout coming external from my account. So I'm calling it the external ideas layout. Okay, this doesn't impact any other workspaces because we're just creating it for the first time for our workspace. So I'll click save right here to apply my changes because we did add, arrange, apply. Yep, we're good, go. Right back where we started. So once I refresh the page, my ideas form would be there. And now we've got something really valuable from the AHA Ideas portal. That's great. Okay, 2 record types down. We did initiatives, we did ideas. Let's finish up with features. And to get there, I'm going to navigate to the Features tab, click on Board. And what you're looking at right here is the Features board. If you're new to AHA, haven't been here before, this is one of the most popular pages in all of AHA. I can kind of orient you quickly here. These columns are each releases, and releases are containers for work organized around a single release date. And each of these cards underneath the releases are features. Features, remember, are those fundamental units of work. They're the kind of incremental steps for how you attain your strategic goals. Over here on the right, I've got a parking lot, which is a groomed backlog of features that I haven't taken on yet, but I might want to. I can just click and drag them into a release if I'd like to. And then you can see a bunch of different fields and customizations on these cards, tags and statuses, and we even got some epics right there as well. Because this page is where a lot of work happens, and because so many AHA Roadmaps users use integrations, particularly with development teams, the feature record layout is both highly used and really important. And it's also susceptible, I think I said this up at the top of the tutorial, to field bloat. Let's click into one of these here. And again, this is a good opportunity to take a step back before we adjust a record layout and think about why we're here and what we want to do, what our goal is in this place. So features are a fundamental unit of work. They help us define and prioritize and manage work inside and outside of AHA if we're using integrations. We use them as a product team. In my scenario here, I'm a product manager on a product team. So we use them to document new functionality broken into requirements, which are kind of phases of work on a feature. And we might even use them externally to get status updates on bug fixes if we've got development teams sending us that sort of information, if that's something we want to track. So I think that leads us to 2 different goals here for this record layout adjustment. The first is to reduce field bloat. Features tend to attract a lot of fields. You can see we've got some empty ones here that look like they're not in consistent use. And also we need to definitely have intentional organization. People are using these a lot, and so they need to see the right information quickly. So we're trying to streamline this record layout. That being said, let's click the More Options button here and jump into Edit the Custom Layout. So when you see this option, instead of creating a custom layout, this means a custom layout already exists, and we're just going to be editing it. Same sort of record layout builder, though, as you might expect. I've got a title already in here because this is an already extant record layout. Not a great title, by the way. That's a pretty bland title, unless this is kind of the single source of truth, what we're using in Fred when cycling for our features layout. But if you've got an AHA Roadmaps account around for a while, you can collect these sort of titles pretty easily. So it's worth auditing if you're an admin and you're doing it anyway, just to make sure that the nomenclature is clear. I've got that drop down back, which shows us the difference between the record when it's first created, like we saw with ideas, and the record after it's been created with called the view layout, what we're adjusting today. But otherwise, same sort of stuff here. Add, arrange, and apply. Oh, we'll have more to talk about there. Let's start with add, even though we're going to be doing some removing today. We'll start with add. One thing I noticed when I looked at the example feature here is that I have an assignee field, but a lot of times with features, particularly in a product management use case, I might have people who aren't the assignee of the feature. They're not responsible for its entire life cycle, but they are an integral part of it. You might think of designers, or if you're a marketing use case, copy editors, or different roles that are always going to be on every feature. Sometimes our ideas layouts have a product manager assigned to them who's going to be reviewing them, that sort of thing. It's useful to have a custom field here. That's a custom user field. So let's add that in. It's also nice for the designer. Let's add a designer field because they can report on it and see what features they're helping out with. Other people can report on it, and you can actually build workflow automation rules. We have another tutorial on that if you'd like to see another one that are built around these user fields. You can assign to-dos to users, even if you don't know who the user is. Just the value in the user field can help you start build some fairly sophisticated automations, which is fun. Give it a go. Okay, so let's add that field. Best practice is to check the existing fields first. And I've actually got 2 designer fields here and 3 customer fields, all with the same name. I left these in here because this also happens fairly frequently with custom fields. People name them the first thing that comes into their head, and it's really hard in this menu to tell them apart. These might be the same type of field, just replicated. They might not be. Another opportunity for some auditing if you're an admin to see which of these are in use and which aren't. In my case, I know that the second designer field is the one I want, so I'll drop it in here. That's as easy as adding. And that's all I want to add. It's really tempting to add things to features, so I want to avoid just doing that willy-nilly. Let's jump into the second step, arranging. And this is fairly well arranged as far as fields go. I've got, those denotative fields grouped together. I have kind of some user fields grouped together. Let's put designer up there with them, so everything that involves a user is in the same place. Estimate score and progress, that looks great. And then some linking fields and some custom fields down at the bottom. I think it looks pretty well arranged. And the tabs look pretty well arranged as well. Let's talk about other things we can do with the arrange step that I haven't showed you yet. First is we can remove fields. This notes field, remember it was empty on the feature we looked at. Best practice, I should report on it and just make sure that it's empty on a lot of fields and kind of a deprecated thing that wasn't removed. But let's pretend I've done that for the sake of argument. I can click the More Options button on any custom fields and remove it from the layout. When I've done that, I haven't deleted it. It still exists up here in existing fields, and I could add it right back in if I want to. But I've just streamlined my field a little bit. That's one way to reduce field bloat and to put some intentional organization behind this record layout. Remember the 2 things we're trying to do here. Another way, if I have a field that I don't want to remove, but it doesn't get used all the time, is to adjust the visibility of it. This persona field, for example, some features would be designed with a persona in mind, but not all of them. So I'll click More Options menu here again and click Hide if empty. And that means, again, I'm not deleting anything. I'm just going to hide that field if there's no values in it, and the people who need it know to go looking for it, and they can find it again. I could probably do more here, but you get the idea. You could audit your own fields and see what can be hidden and what should be removed and what should be rearranged. That's a really helpful part of this step. Okay, that's the arrange. I've done add, I've done arrange. Now it's time to apply, and you've probably noticed this is different. It's not just as simple as clicking save because I'm editing something. And this is a particularly good example because we came right from the Fredwin cycling tutorial workspace. But if I hover over here, this record layout will actually affect 2 different workspaces, mine and another one I haven't been in yet. This is where workspace owners have a time to shine. I can click into the other workspace, go right to the workspace settings. And this is where a workspace owner would go through and for each record type that we talked about in the introduction, select a different record layout. So we've got the Fredwin cycling features layout here. If they've got permissions, they can click edit layout and get right back to where you and I just were and edit the layout themselves. They can also make some adjustments here. This is a list, if you can see it, of all the different record layouts in this account. There's quite a few of them. And as a workspace owner, I could choose one of them, or I can choose to inherit a record layout right here, or choose no record layout, choose the default. Inherit is kind of interesting. It means that if I'm in a child workspace, I want to inherit the record layout from the parent line right above me. Let me show you another drop down. which is this one. There's Fredwin Software, which is a parent line, and under it I've got Fredwin Platform, Fredwin Cycling, Fredwin Running, Fredwin Swimming are products in this product line. If I select a record layout for features at the parent line level at Fredwin Software, and all the workspaces are set to inherit, then they'll each have that same record layout, which is really important. It's a simple thing, like a time saver thing, so you don't have to remember who's using what layout, but it also, the simple change we're making today orients these different workspaces, even if they have different work, towards their work in the same way by requiring the same fields and organizing the fields in the same way. So this is a lot of the power and also the chance for collaboration that workspace owners have. Best practices is either to talk to the workspace owner or to decide as a group of workspace owners or a group of admins which layouts you want to apply to what's workspace. I won't make you go through that. Let's just assume that I'm the workspace owner and I think it's fine that I'm doing this thing that I'm doing. So I feel comfortable with the additions, with the arrangement, and now we're going to click apply. And you may have forgotten, but of course AHA Roadmaps doesn't, that we were actually on the features board looking at a feature, and we're right back there with those changes. You can see Epic is empty, but it's set to show even if it has nothing in it, so it'll still show up. But now we've got this show more button and show less that shows any fields that we decided should be hidden if empty, like persona here. So I can easily get it out of the way. Also, that custom field we added is right here. Claire George is going to be the designer on this feature, working with me, and it looks like Rose is going to be watching us set personal race goals there. Okay, that looks really good, right? We've got a great features layout here. I think we met our strategic goals for that. We already adjusted initiatives and ideas. That's all I'm going to show you today for the tutorial, but I want to impress on you as we leave this and you go out to adjust your own record layouts, how wonderful this work is. I know it's not a complicated set of instructions you just got, but this gives you the chance to make thoughtful choices in your record layouts that make it easier for people to get their work done. They can spend less time thinking about and finding the fields they need and more time thinking about their work and how it contributes to their strategy and having their next great idea and all those sorts of things. We can, again, orient people the same way to their work, and so they start finding those opportunities for cross-functional collaboration when they're seeing the same record layouts across the different workspaces. If you have questions or you're confused about anything, check out in the knowledge base. We've linked some articles in this video for you to do some further reading, or always submit a ticket to customer success. Thank you so much. Bye.